Matthew? Our parents are planning to meet in another hour or so for the first time, right? But your parents are telling me that they haven't been able to get a hold of you all morning. And right now, they're really worried about where you are. That's why I'm texting you now. And I just tried giving you a call a few minutes ago, but you didn't even pick up. I hope that you're okay right now, and will be here in time for when our parents finally meet. Can you at least tell me where you are? I'm going to go and get my parents now and bring them out, so I'd better see you with your parents when it's time.
What's up? Wendy? Ah, that's right. Today's the day we're supposed to be introducing our parents to each other. That's not good.
Matthew! What the hell has been going on with you? You haven't been responding to any of us, and we've been worried sick.
I'm sorry. I've been driving for a couple hours now and had no time to look at my phone.
What? Are you on your way to come meet us all here now?
Well, about that. I completely forgot that our parents are meeting each other today, and so I'm on my way to a ski resort to have a bit of fun for a couple of days.
You're heading to a ski resort? The day before yesterday, you and I were literally on the phone with each other talking about our parents' meeting.
You called me way too early in the morning, and I was half asleep talking to you. I don't even remember half of that. I was probably thinking it was some sort of dream. Sorry.
Seriously? Well then, what are we going to do about today?
The only option now is to cancel the plans we made.
This isn't something that I can just cancel right now. We are supposed to all be meeting right now, so it's way too sudden. And right now, we're here at the place we plan on getting married at, so I was hoping this would be a great place to have everyone meet and chat.
But listen, when it comes to you and I getting married, we're going to need the permission from our parents to do that first, right? Having them all meet and talk about us getting married at the place we want to have our wedding at is a bit too crazy for my parents. I don't think it will leave a good impression.
But canceling this whole meetup right when we're all showing up is even more crazy, and neither of our parents are going to approve of that from you.
Ah, that's a good point. And what's even worse is that you already reserved that place for the 6 of us to have dinner, so canceling now means you'll still have to pay. But hey, you don't have to get too worried about the hefty price for canceling, because our parents can handle it for us.
You shouldn't even be thinking of that right now, Matthew. It's not about the money, but the fact that you forgot about this very important plan and aren't going to show up for it.
Yeah. I'll take care of paying for that place so you can stop worrying about it. You know that marrying me means you'll be getting a lot of money from me, so you don't have to get so upset over something as cheap as that place.
What? You think you'll be bringing me a lot of money in this marriage? What are you talking about?
No matter what you try and do about today, I'm already way out of town and won't be able to come back in time to see you all. If I turned around right now, I'd be back in town later tonight, which is way too late, right?
Seriously? By the way, why the hell did you even go on a ski trip today anyway? Even if you did forget about the meeting our parents and us were supposed to have today, isn't it a bit too sudden for you to be going on a trip like that without telling me?
Right, well, I chose to go on this trip pretty quickly. Originally, my friend was planning to go on this trip with another one of their friends, but that friend ended up having another plan get in the way, so I was invited to go last minute. My friend said that instead of having to cancel the whole trip, it'd just be easier to have me join.
And so, instead of looking at what plans you already had for today, you just decided to tag along with that friend without any second thoughts?
I'm sorry. But since I'm on this ski trip right now, we'll have to do this whole parents' meeting thing another day.
Another day? Aren't you being just a little too careless about our relationship right now?
But I'm saying you don't have to get so worked up over what happened. I'm your fiancé, and I'm saying that it's going to be fine, so you shouldn't have any complaints, right?
Right. That's the kind of person I should have expected you to be. All right, then. I'll tell our parents that you're not going to be making it here today. And I'd like you to sort all of this out with your parents later, okay?
Okay. I'm so close to the resort now, so I'll see you later.
Hey, Wendy. Just because you had one date canceled on you, that doesn't mean you can keep complaining about it over and over again, okay? Emma? It's been a while. The last time I think the two of us talked with one another was years ago at our class reunion, just after we both turned 21, right? And what's this about having a date canceled? Just a second ago, I was talking with Matthew about that whole situation of yours. I am finally able to go on this ski trip with him, so can you stop getting all upset with him and in the way of our trip? What? Hold on a sec. What? The person that Matthew said invited him out to go to that ski resort was you? Yeah, it was me. Is there anyone else on that trip with you guys? Nope. It's just him and I sharing a room together at this ski resort. Huh? Well, you shouldn't be getting that upset about it, right? The two of us are just enjoying a little vacation together. Listen, Wendy, you need to be more careful about having Matthew on a leash like that. If you keep trying to hold him by your side all the time, he's only going to try harder to break free. It was just one date that he had to cancel on suddenly. And he only did that so he could go on a small trip with another woman. This isn't something to be so worked up over, and you should try to be a bit more lenient with him and his choices, okay? He even told me that he wants a more relaxed relationship. Today, he canceled on a date with me? Look at what you're doing. You're trying to pick at every word I say like some kind of maniac. We didn't have any plans to go out on a date today, though. We'd only planned on having our parents meet face-to-face at lunch today before we get married. Huh? Wait, are you really trying to restrain Matthew that much that you're willing to marry him and keep him all to yourself? Oh my God, you're already at the worst stage of being a greedy girlfriend. Whether you think I'm trying to restrain him or not, the only reason that we were supposed to have this meeting today is so our parents could see how happy we are together. But to tell you the truth, our whole relationship started because his parents introduced me to him. Huh? Emma, I've known you as the type of girl that finds joy in stealing other women's boyfriends and playing around with their feelings. And I'm sure that even this time, you plan on doing exactly the same thing with Matthew. But Emma, you are an employee for one of the companies that Matthew's dad's company works together with, right? So, based on your position within that company, you're going to start a very bad situation between everyone involved.
Wendy, why didn't you say something about all of this earlier to me? Your grandpa? He's one of my dad's company's biggest shareholders?
Well, if that weren't the case, would you not be texting me right now?
I just assumed that because your dad only works as a factory floorman, my parents were leagues above yours, making me the far more powerful person in our relationship.
So that's what all of that was about. A little while back, you said that me marrying you meant that I'd be getting a lot of your money. What you thought of our parents is the reason why you were saying that then.
Not telling me about all of this before is ridiculous of you.
Wait, why is that ridiculous of me? As your father's son, and the one expected to be taking over his company when he retires, you've been joining him at all of those meetings with his shareholders, right? And I know that you've already met my grandparents before. So you should have noticed my dad always sitting in on those meetings with your dad and the other shareholders, and gotten a pretty good idea of who my family is, right? Heck, I've even talked with you before about how your parents are pretty close to my grandpa, right?
Huh?
Did you know that I am also aware of your dad's company needing me to marry you to save it? At the moment, his company isn't doing so well, but your dad thinks that by having me marry you, it'll help make his company look more suitable for my grandpa and other shareholders to put more money into. Well, all of that aside, you have really messed up, Matthew. While we were supposed to have a very important lunch with all our parents finally being able to meet, you went off to a ski resort, leaving us all behind, and proceeded to cheat on me. In other words, showing me that you don't want to marry me. That's not good, Matthew.
I'd like you to hold on for a couple seconds. I'm sure that you're even aware that us humans are not perfect, and every so often we can act on our bad consciences, right? So,
So?
you know...
I know what?
Well, I didn't mean to actually do any of that, and it was just a slip up.
If you're waiting for me to say that I'll forgive you, or that I'll forget something like this ever happened between us, you're going to be waiting a very long time.
Wait,
Well, if that's not it, then what should I know, Matthew?
well, if you don't stay together with me and get married, then my dad is going to let my older sister have the company, and I'll get nothing when he retires. So please, Wendy, can you please stop thinking that I don't want to marry you anymore after what happened? I'll even be willing to pay you some kind of settlement, and as for Emma, I'll make sure that things between me and her look like they never even happened.
Don't worry, as I already know that you'll be paying for whatever settlement I ask for. And as for Emma, you can continue whatever shallow romance you had with her.
Then this means you're going to forgive me, right?
That's not at all what any of this means. By the way, Matthew, wasn't it already known that your older sister would be taking your dad's place after he retires? I could have sworn that's what everyone had been talking about in those meetings before.
What?
I never even heard from anyone about you being the one to take your dad's place as the CEO of that company. And even my grandpa is saying that he's going to have your sister take his place.
Huh?
And now that I've mentioned that, there is some bad news for Emma as well. Emma is an employee for one of the companies that works together with your dad's company as a customer, and the news of her having a secret relation with you, even though you have a fiancé, is beginning to spread. And what's even worse is the money used to take you both on that little ski trip was money from the company she's working for. The company is now asking for her to stay home and not come into work as they investigate what's going on.
You know about that as well?
Well, if you're willing to cheat on me with one of your dad's customers' employees, then I don't think you even have a chance at becoming the next CEO.
What's going to happen to me then?
Don't try asking me a question like that, because I have no clue. But just know that the two of us are no longer getting married. I'm going to have a lawyer begin talking with you about the steps following this, so make sure to keep your eyes and ears open for when they come to talk to you.
Are you kidding me? Are you not even going to bother giving me one more chance to make this all up to you?
Actually, I've had enough of being your fiancé and girlfriend. What you've done this past week or so has really worn me and my emotions down, and I just don't have it in me anymore to be around you. So there's no reason for me to give you a second chance, and even now it's killing me to have to text you.
Wendy!
Goodbye, Matthew. Why do I have to pay you any kind of settlement now? And not just that, but I'm going to have to be fired for what happened as well? I was really only wanting you to talk with my lawyer about this, Emma. I have to come face to face with you about this so that you know just how pissed off I am about everything. Ugh. I'm sure that I already know all the details about you and Matthew as I've heard enough from him about it. But that trip you took with Matthew to the ski resort? You used money from the company you work for to pay for that whole trip, right? So, do you now see doing something like that as a good reason for your employer to fire you? Huh? What do you know about that? Normally, someone like me wouldn't know a thing about that, but I am in touch with both Matthew and his family, so I learn all kinds of things about what's going on within your guys' worlds. And after learning that Matthew had been cheating on me, there was no reason to not go searching for answers as to why and how it was all happening. What the heck? I know that I'm only watching all of this take place from outside, but getting upset at me for what you both did is not going to get you anywhere closer to being forgiven by your employer, or Matthew's family. And as for that settlement, that has nothing to do with me either, so I'm not even going to comment on it. What? That is all something you and Matthew need to talk about, right? You did things you're not supposed to do, with someone who is the son of a CEO your employer works with. Complaining to me about what's happened and what's going to happen will not change things for you, and is a bit annoying for me. Then if you're not the problem, you can at least help me. I have nothing to do with your problems now. I'm being asked to pay a settlement, but if I'm fired, I won't have the money to. Not having any kind of employment at this moment in my life where money matters most is just horrible. But what I've been trying to say is that you coming to me about all that isn't going to do you any good. I'm not even the one asking for your money right now, because I believe that you did all of that with Matthew not knowing that he's been engaged to me. So please stop complaining to me. But I don't have any money. I seriously have no idea what I'm going to do now. Matthew's father's company and the factory that my dad works in still have a contract that they'll continue to hold, and my grandpa is still waiting to be the primary shareholder for his dad's company. And as for Matthew cheating on me and ruining any chance of getting married to me, we've decided to try our best to keep the whole situation private, and out of as many ears as possible. And as for Matthew himself, he had to choose between being completely kicked out of his family or having to find work of his own from now on with no hopes of having anything to do with his dad's company. And in the end, he chose the latter. And as for the money he got for leaving his position within his dad's company, it was all given to me as a settlement. And when it comes to what happened after leaving his dad's company, his parents kicked him out of their house and had him moved into an apartment. Emma suffered pretty much the same fate as Matthew. However, instead, she didn't receive any money. Instead, she was fired from the company and had to use whatever money she had left to pay off the settlement to her ex-employers. This left her with a total of $0, and that was followed by her parents kicking her out of their house. After the two of them took so much damage after what they'd done, they both decided it'd be better to stay together rather than break up. So Matthew took Emma into his apartment to live together. However, that apartment was very old and the walls very thin. They always get into massive fights there about money and who messed up more, leading to lots of complaints from other tenants. It's only a matter of time until their landlord kicks them out of there, and they'll really have to start again with nothing. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and also feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Hey, sweetie, I've got a bit of a favor to ask you.
Hey, honey. Sure. What's up?
Well, you know that my dad passed away a couple months ago, right?
Yeah?
Well, my mom hasn't been coping with his death too good, living on her own and everything, so I thought that maybe she would be better off living with us, at least for a little while anyway.
Oh, well, I don't know. I feel sorry for your mom, don't get me wrong, and I don't want her to feel lonely, but having her live with us is quite a big thing. We would lose all of our privacy, and we wouldn't be able to do what we want when we want to anymore. You know? Maybe we can see if there's another way, like maybe she could sell her house and we could find her an apartment or something nearby, so that she could come around whenever she wanted, but so that we can still have our space as well. What do you think?
Oh, well, I think that she might already have moved in.
What?
Yeah, I kind of told her that she could move in already. She's in the spare bedroom.
Why would you do that? You didn't even ask me before you went ahead and told her that she could move in? Now what am I supposed to do? I haven't even had any chance to get the house ready.
She doesn't care about the state of the house. She's just happy to not be alone. Please, just give this a chance. For me?
Okay, for you I will try.
Thank you. Okay then, I guess I'll see you after work.
I'll see you after work. Love you.
Oh, this house is such a mess. How do you expect me to live in such a pigsty? Huh, Sophie? I'm living here now too, so you can't just leave it and dump like this. Got it? Honestly, I don't know why you think it's okay to just leave it in such a mess. Have some pride, will you?
Oh, hi Delilah. I'm sorry about the mess. I didn't know you were coming to stay with us, and so I haven't had a chance to tidy up a little bit.
Well, that's not my fault. There's dirty dishes everywhere in the kitchen, not to mention that the surfaces are covered in crumbs and food splodges. Besides, you shouldn't be leaving the place like this regardless of whether I'm here or not. How do you expect my son to be able to live in a house like this? You are supposed to be a wife, so do your wifely duties and make sure that the house is clean. My son deserves at least that much.
It's really not that bad, Delilah. There's a few dishes from breakfast that I wasn't able to get around to cleaning yet, as I had to rush to get to work. And maybe there's a little bit of laundry about, but when I get back from work, I'll tidy it away.
Well, I don't want to be living in a dump. You need to come back now and clean the place.
I can't do that right now, Delilah, as I'm at work. I I can't just drop what I'm doing and rush home to clean just because you want me to.
Well, then what am I supposed to do? It's much too dirty and messy for me to live happily here. I can't stand it at all.
Well, if it's truly bothering you that much, why don't you clean up the mess? Or you could even go out until I get home from work, or maybe just go to your room and sleep or something.
You seriously just suggest that I clean up your mess? How lazy are you? I've only just moved in, and already you're trying to foister all of your household chores onto me. What? Is that what I have to do for the honor of living in your horrible, messy house? Do all of the chores?
No, Delilah, that's not what I was saying at all. I'm not making you do any chores. I just meant that if the mess was bothering you, you don't have to put up with it, okay? But I was by no means demanding that you clean the house. I can do it when I get back from work.
Well, I guess I'll just have to live in this filth until you deem it important enough to clean then, shall I?
Sure, Delilah. That's what you'll have to do. I need to go now. I have work.
I honestly have no clue what my son sees in you. You don't even make a good housewife. You do none of the chores, clearly, and I bet you don't look after Joe properly. He probably has to do all the chores himself. It wouldn't surprise me if he even has to cook for himself too.
Yes, I do, Delilah. I try my hardest to make sure that the house is in order, even though I also have to work. I'm the one who is always cooking the dinner, cleaning the house, and doing whatever other chores there are. Joe doesn't help out at all.
Not true. My Joe's perfect. He probably helps out when he needs to. He does more work than you, both in the house and at his job.
Okay, Delilah, that's just entirely not true at all. But I'm not going to argue with you about this again, especially not right now when I'm at work. So if you continue to message me, I'm sorry, but I just won't answer. I have very important things to do right now, and I can't be distracted from them by nonsense.
Oh, so suddenly anything I find a problem is just nonsense? How rude of you.
Look, I didn't mean it like that, but I really don't have time to talk anymore. We can sort this all out later. Goodbye, Delilah.
Sophie, we need to talk.
Joe, what's wrong?
How dare you talk to my mother the way you did? She didn't do anything to deserve your rude and abrupt behavior.
What? What are you on about?
You can't play dumb with me. She told me all about your conversation with her earlier. She told me that she messaged you simply to ask if you were going to do any cleaning when you got home, as the house was a bit messy, and she wanted to know whether she should clean it or leave it to you. She didn't want to do anything wrong or put anything where it didn't belong. But then you exploded on her, telling her that it was none of her business and that you were too busy to do any cleaning, that if she wanted the house to be clean, then she would have to do it herself. She's literally only just moved in and you're trying to make her the maid? That's my mother.
Okay, none of that happened. I mean, yes, she did message me this afternoon, but it wasn't to ask about if she could clean the house. Instead, she began spewing a barrage of horrible comments at me, telling me that I wasn't good enough for you and that I wasn't a proper wife, as I wasn't doing all the chores at home. She even demanded that I leave my work and go home just so I could clean the house for her. She was really vile to me, Joe, considering it is our house that she has moved into.
I doubt that.
What?
I doubt my mom would be so rude. She's not a rude woman. She's actually one of the sweetest women I know, and I resent the fact that you're trying to blame her for your horrible behavior towards her this afternoon.
How can you just believe her like that and disregard everything I have said? I'm your wife, Joe. I think I deserve a little bit of consideration when I tell you that your mom was the one who was the one being horrible.
That's just a lie. I don't appreciate you lying about my mom like that, Sophie. If this is how you're going to behave now that she's moved in with us, then we're definitely going to need a good talk to lay down some ground rules.
You know what? Yeah, sure. Let's have that talk. And we can include your mom, and we can all lay out some ground rules. We can also share out all of the chores.
What do you mean by that?
Well, now that there's going to be 3 of us in the house, there's going to be more mess, which means more work required to clean the mess up. I can't do it all by myself, especially considering that I'm working until 6 every night. So, I'll have to have help to get it all done.
But
That means you as well, Joe. You can start picking up some of the slack too.
I have work too, you know.
Yes, and so do I. So it's only fair if we even out the chores. And your mom can help as well now that she's living with us.
Fine, we can all talk about it when we get back.
Great. I look forward to it. Joe, you need to tell your mom that she needs to help out around the house more. I mean, have you seen the state of the house? It's a mess. There are dirty dishes everywhere, some with half-eaten food still in them. There's a constant smell of cigarette smoke. Your mom's dirty clothes are everywhere. I seriously can't live like this for much longer, Joe.
Well then, clean it up. If you hate the smell and mess so much, do something about it.
I would, but I've had to pick up extra shifts and overtime at work just so we can afford the increase in bills. I literally don't have time to clean up when I get back.
Well, that's convenient now, isn't it?
Joe, I won't be finishing work until 10 tonight. That means I won't be home until about 10:30, 11. I then have to get up at 6 a.m. to make sure I have time to get ready for work, which I need to be in for at 8 a.m. the following day. Where in that time frame am I supposed to clean the house? Huh? Or am I just not supposed to sleep, or eat, or have any time to myself?
Well, then maybe you shouldn't work so late.
I literally can't, Joe. Do you know how much the bills have increased monthly?
It can't be that much.
They're roughly 200 to 300 more.
What? How is that even possible?
I don't know. Ask your mother.
Well, you'll have to figure something out.
What?
Well, yeah, look, my mom is going through a really tough time, so I can't expect her to just start acting like a maid. She can't go around cleaning the house just because you want her to. She needs time to adjust and get over her husband. She can't do that if you're making her do all the housework and whatnot.
Fine then. You'll have to help out a bit more then. You'll have to do a bit more cleaning and tidying whilst I'm working overtime.
But I really don't want to do that. I mean, I'm the husband. I shouldn't have to do the housework. That's the wife's job.
Excuse you?
You heard me. Housework is for women. That's you. So you'll just have to figure something out in order to keep the house clean. We can't be living in such a pigsty.
What on earth has happened to you?
What do you mean?
Ever since your mom moved into the house, you have steadily become more lazy, more demanding of me, and much more demeaning towards me. It's ridiculous. I don't know what your mom is telling you, but whatever it is, you need to stop listening to her because she is completely wrong and outdated in her views.
My mom has just made it a bit more clear about who should do what in the house. You can't blame her for just straightening things out and just letting me know how things should be between a man and his wife. Obviously, you wouldn't tell me what should be happening as you just want to try and control everything. Well, that's not going to be happening any longer.
What on earth are you on about?
I'm the husband, and so you'll do what I tell you.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
Well, whilst you contemplate the actual consequences of your actions, I'm going back to work. I've got things to do.
You can't just turn away from me, not like this. You're gonna stay and listen to me as I talk to you, and then you'll come home and do what I tell you to do.
Can I just ask you something?
What?
Is this how you're going to be from now on? This attitude of yours? Or will you go back to normal if your mom moves out?
Look, you might not like it, but this is the new me. My mom has opened my eyes to how things should be, so I'm not gonna be changing back into my old ways at all. Like it or not, this new me is who you'll have to get used to from now on. Oh, and we're not getting rid of my mom.
I see. Well then, I clearly have a lot of thinking to do.
What do you mean? Thinking about what? Sophie?
Sophie, you answer my son right now. You can't just start ignoring him. He's been trying to contact you for ages.
Well, I have work to do, along with a few other errands, so I don't have time to have a chat.
Husband is trying to talk to you, so you can't just ignore him.
I have nothing left to say to that man anymore. Not since you've poisoned him against me.
Well, maybe you should have been a better wife then, huh? Maybe then he would actually see you as his wife.
Or maybe you should have minded your own business, left me, Joe, and our marriage alone, and lived on your own somewhere instead of coming to my house.
Maybe someone's moody that they didn't get their way, and that they've lost control of their husband.
Whatever, Delilah. I have important work to do, so I'm leaving.
What?
What?
I regret my decision to let you marry my son. Waste time. File for divorce immediately.
It's done. The divorce is finalized and you've moved out.
Huh? What are you on about?
Exactly what I just said. I filed for divorce. I might have jumped the gun saying that it's finalized, but it will be very soon. The judge will see the case soon enough and grant me the divorce. So, it's as good as finalized.
But why?
You're seriously asking me why? Have you seen how you and Joe have been treating me these last few weeks? You've both been utterly vile to me, demanding that I do all the chores, see to your every need, and basically become your slave when I'm at home. You two have literally pushed me to the point of breaking, and I don't want to live like that anymore. I asked Joe if he would kick you out of the house, and he said no. So, if that's the way he wants to be, then so be it. He can stick with you if that's his choice. I'm gone.
Well, fine then. We don't need you anyway. You were never good enough for my son anyway. He deserved so much better than you. Someone who would actually act like a wife is supposed to.
Uh-huh. That's great. Oh, but before I forget, I just need to tell you that you and Joe will have to move out of my house.
What? You're kidding, right?
Nope. I'm incredibly serious.
This house is my son's. You can't kick us out of it.
Actually, this house is mine.
What do you mean?
The lease of the house is in my name. I'm the one who pays the mortgage and all of the bills, So I get to decide who lives in my house and who doesn't. And obviously, I don't want you living in it anymore.
Can't do that.
Yes, I can actually.
But you're just the wife, not the man. The man owns all of the things, like the house and the car and stuff.
They might have done in the 1950s, but in the modern era, women can actually own things for themselves. Shocking, I know, but that's just how things are, I'm afraid.
What are me and Joe supposed to do now? Where are we supposed to go?
Well, as the man, I'm sure that Joe can sort something out, right? He will get you to a new place before you know it.
You know that he can't do that. He hasn't got the money. Besides, I don't want to live with just him. He's a slob, and I can't live in a house that looks like a dump.
Well then, maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to be completely horrible to me. Oh well though, it's not my problem, so I'm just going to let you deal with that. I've got more important things to do.
Like what?
Like actually having a day to relax by myself for once. It's been a long time since I've been able to actually sit back and relax, and I think I am definitely going to enjoy it. See you later, Delilah. Oh, and if you and Joe aren't out of my place by the time I get back, I'll call the police.
But no, you can't. This is my house, not yours.
See ya, Delilah. After getting the divorce, I really did kick Delilah and Joe out of my house. I was sad that I had to leave Joe, but he really had changed for the worse due to his mom, and I couldn't live in such a toxic environment any longer. Although, it was quite satisfying to kick them out and finally have a clean house to come home to again. After they left, I heard that Joe and his mom had to move into a tiny apartment, as they simply didn't have the money to buy a new house. But I guess that's karma when you honestly try to make life horrible for someone for no reason. As for me, I ended up selling my house and using the money to travel around a bit. It was something that I had always wanted to do, but never got around to due to marrying Joe. So far, my trip has been amazing, and I can't wait to see what life brings next.